Wow, surprise, surprise. Is that winding my way through here? This is going to be a multifaceted video. The first thing is, I have wheeled this out here with the full intent of finishing up the shredded bark. I only have a couple loads, but shiny new employee, been getting her started. She's up there weeding. Wild sarsaparilla, not poison ivy. Okay, broadleaf toothwort. Good, good, good. And as I wheeled it out here, I noticed a couple things. A couple little Eurasian honeysuckles. And I'm just going to put those off to the side instead of carrying them. They're going to die. They are above the ground. They're going to dry out. They're not going to continue to live. And forget-me-not. And this reminds me of this fellow, well-meaning. You can see that pretty little blue flower. Pink ones sometimes are white. Well-meaning fellow came and told me that he loves them. They're the greatest flowers. So he bought bags of seed and spread it throughout his woods. It's like, dude, please investigate native plants. And I wound up talking to him after a while, showing him a list of plants that would grow in his woods, given his environment in his location within the U.S. The plants that he should find, including threatened and endangered plants, which if you have a licensed nursery near you or mail order, they breed them, such as yellow lady slippers, such as trillium, and other plants that should be there and not this. And this was a nice little isolated patch, so I could just pull them all up, and it's wet, so they just yanked up easily. And so, my friends, instead of going to garden shops and getting things like Vinca minor or creeping myrtle and allowing them to invade the woods, go with native plants, or else get some kind of thing for your garden, an exotic that can't make it through the winter. So if you have to have that, don't allow these woods that we call home to be invaded by like things that'll choke them out, like wild garlic mustard, that can get yay tall and completely fill a forest scape or a dunescape or an any-scape. Wild garlic mustard. Of course, as you're pulling it, eat it because it's highly nutritious. It's just one of the monsters out there. But before you go and buy bags of seeds, you can buy native wildflower seed packages, mixes. Don't get this stuff. Baby's breath, believe it or not, is like a monster plant in dune areas. There was some in Petoskey that was taking over the dunes, but I'm pretty confident that it was controlled because that is state property and they're on it. Anyway, I'm going to deal with those. The power of grass. Not that I would ever do it, wouldn't do it. It could be considered kind of mean, but suppose. I say that laughingly. I have a friend that manages a preserve, a friend. And sometimes he'll get people that are viewing a sunset, which is a good thing. You know, given the beauty of sunsets, everyone, if you have access to sunsets, should see them every night. But suppose you get that kind of person in a group that doesn't want to leave. You know, it's been a long night. You don't want to have to keep babysitting these people until 1 in the morning. You close at sunset, give them a few minutes. Sometimes they don't move. You can talk to them. Sometimes that doesn't work. But I want to tell you about the power of grass. Yes, my friends, you can make people move in the woods without even having to talk to them, without them even knowing you're there, using the power of grass. What, you may ask, is the power of grass? Well, grass is a simple tool, and if used correctly, can make pretty scary sounds to the unknowing. And in this way, you can get them to move, simply with grass. I have other stories, but I shan't relay them because they are classified. They are classified. But that's kind of a funny thing about grass. Used rarely, but used effectively. What else did I have to say? Oh, Mark in Switzerland. You know, I've been thinking about your slope soaring, the RC, unpowered flight. Slope soaring, if you have ridges, you know, wind, prevailing wind, the wind hits the ridges and goes straight up, so you can just back and forth, and it can act like thermals, rising columns of air for your gliders. And I've been watching these videos on discus launch gliders. It's pretty cool. They have these amazing gliders, and you grab them and you actually launch them like that. And these things, they go up 100 feet, you know, with that launch, and then they can hit thermals and then just soar. Well, I am of the mind, as far as airplanes, that I'm not really probably able to do aerobatics or tricky things. I like just watching things fly. And so, Mark, I'm kind of going your way. I scored a vintage kit, a Carl Goldberg kit. He's a manufacturer of model airplanes stuff. A Carl Goldberg Viking, and I invite you to do an internet search for the Viking to see it. It's a high thrust, free flight plane. High thrust just means it's got a powerful engine that can carry the thing straight up. And then after the limited motor on, it can hit thermals and just stay up forever. But they have the thermalizers, clockwork on it that triggers something. Hey, Robin. Or a fuse that when the time is up, the horizontal stabilizer, what would you call it, that finny thing that's horizontal, that controls the pitch, goes up at a high angle and then it comes down like a parachute. That would make an amazing electric motor glider, RC, elevator and rudder. I'm not coordinated enough to use ailerons, and in fact this would need to because it's designed to be super stable. Flying stabilizer. Well, anyway, that is enough of that. Remember the power of grass. Remember, if you want to plant stuff, flowers are great. Wildflowers encourages wildlife, obviously. Go with native. Go with native mixes. If you're in Indiana, if you're in Swaziland, if you're in Florida, if you're in Sarajevo, anywhere, there's an assemblage of native wildflowers, and go native. Keep working on invasives. Luckily, I can pull forget-me-nots. So that's a low impact kind of invasive control. Now I'm going to do something here. No, actually I'm not going to pick them. I'm going to just show you this. This is the plant of the day. It is broadleaf toothwort. It's in the mustard family. And it tastes so good. Zoom in here. There it is. Broadleaf toothwort. It doesn't last much longer. After it flowers, the leaves die back. And I only pick one leaf per plant. There's so many, so I'm not really causing any harm to them. There's a baby. This is a nice edible. That is a nice edible. You have learned about broadleaf toothwort. There's a dandelion. I eat those too as I'm walking the trails. This is a young wild sarsaparilla that kind of looks like poison ivy, but it isn't. It'll have 7 leaves, 7 leaflets on each thing. The young ones just have 3. Contrasted, remember that. I bet you I can find poison ivy. It's not Rus radicans anymore, it's toxodendron. They changed. Die. Oh. There's poison ivy. I don't cut that, I don't control it, I don't mind it. It's a good plant. As long as it's not on the trails, I leave it alone. And with that, Poison Ivy says, thank you for watching. That's tricky, isn't it? That's my production methods. Have a great day.